You imagine some poor Let's Player having to read every delectable sentence of these odiferous paragraphs aloud and getting a little hot and bothered. Wow. Just wow. Hi everybody, welcome back to Friendsim. I'm recording this right after the previous one. I am still shook. What the heck, man? With the time paradox ending. What the hell? And we befriended this clown, and he was super chill, and he was so woke. And it was like a good kind of woke. So, not a cringy type of woke that I'm used to seeing all the time. Anyway, we also got to visit a gravedigger who's totally, and we just opened up like this whole entire can of worms about, Doc Scratch, I think, just messing with continuity and making things run the way he wants it. Anyway, let's go to the Daria troll now, okay? Thought so. This is going to break my face. Okay. Volume 17 of Teen and Tech. Man, someone's out in the backyard working on stuff. Jeez. Loud neighbors. Stop it. Okay, volume 17 of Teen and Tech, acerbic. Ah, yes. This is it, fellas. Another night of laughter and camaraderie. Another night of joy and communion with some totally normal teens who would never have... You're kidding, idiot. You're still on Alternia. You just know one of these miserable chuckleheads is around here somewhere, waiting for their exact moment to inundate you with another disgustingly dose of friendship. Who is it going to be the author of your destruction this accursed evening? It's either Daria, John Jett, or Nick, is it Nike? Nike Moolah. Nike Moolah. Huh. No, of course we have to go with this one. The sassy teen troll. And she flex. But she is... Wow. Edge. Your feet drag as you walk, every limb heavy and slow, and your thoughts are cloudy and dull. Your palm husk is filled with unanswered texts. You feel guilty about this in the back of your mind, where real feelings live crammed together because the front of your mind is too busy being lethargic and numb. Being a bad friend goes against the core tenets of your beliefs, but answering text just seems like too much effort. You're not sure where this particular malaise came from, just that the usual friend-making animus that drives you is still there, but it doesn't feel strong enough to overcome how tired you are of everything else. You can't quite remember how it felt to care that much about companionship and camaraderie. In fact, right now you can't remember how it felt to care much about anything. Your thoughts drift to fantasies of driving your car into the uninhabited Alternian desert until you run out of fuel and perhaps letting the sun have its way with you. It could be part of that feeling that you've almost made all the friends there is to make, and there's little left for you to do on this planet. It could be weeks of trauma catching up and sinking you into depression to protect you from thinking about it all. Either way, it just feels like so much effort to do anything, and you sort of welcome oblivion if it showed up right now and offered its sweet embrace. Your listless walking has taken you into a familiar neighborhood. Ah, the cerulean part of the town. You smile as you reminisce, sweet memories peeking through like beams of sunlight, through the fog of your apathy. Not far from here is Malik's Hive, with all its hacking equipment and charming upper-middle-class atmosphere of entitlement and compliance mixed with vaguely socially aware concern. And though you've only seen a picture of it on Chitter, you know that Remele's hipster art studio hive is also in the neighborhood. And one block over is our Dada's place, which gave you your gruesome and troubling introduction to Alternian social mores, and one taught you love, One taught you patience, one taught you pain, or something like that. Wow, look at all these weirdos. What the heck, man? So what the heck? Even more signs. Are they actual, like, troll signs? Or are they just made up for the art? The hive you're closest to is actually L-words, and you shamble closer, you realize that a lot of the other trolls seem to be converging there too. Fishing out your palm husk, you see that the unread message from L-word is an invitation to a party at her place. Looking around, you feel a flame of old desire to meet and greet rekindling in your heart. There are plenty of trolls here you haven't met yet, plenty of opportunities for friendship. The now roaring fire in your belly feels a little artificial, like someone just injected you with friend-making hormones to flood out your regular human melancholy. But you're not going to complain because this is vastly preferable. As you're walking briskly towards L-word's hive, you spot a troll lurking in the shadows by L-word's back door. Curious, you approach, and when you get closer, you spot the jade green in her outfit. Although there's not much of her blood color in comparison to what most other trolls seem to sport, because she's mostly wearing black and spikes, and black spikes. Ugh. Okay, let's try. Okay, so Daria voice. Let's see. Ugh, it's you. Guess that makes sense you'd be here. You're probably friends with L-word, huh? Whatever. Yeah, you're friends with L-word, but you didn't come here for the party. You're just in the neighborhood, trying to mimic Daria's disaffected slouch. It's not hard, as you just channeled the you from about 60 seconds ago, who was very disaffected indeed. From the approving arc of Daria's eyebrow, you think you're doing a pretty good job. Yeah, parties are lame. Most parties are, anyway. This one might be cool. L-word's pretty cool. Do you have flushed feelings for L-word? I mean, she seems alright. I don't think she's that cool. I just think her hair and clothes and personality don't completely suck is all. You tactfully don't comment on the greenish blush to Daria's cheeks when she's talking about L-word, nor the way she keeps glancing at the door like she's hoping someone will invite her in. She's clearly trying to sneak into this party and doesn't have an invite. When a branch snaps in the bushes, Daria startles and looks around shiftily. You wonder if she's supposed to be out here on her own this far from the caverns at all. I'm not a baby like Wanshi. So what if I snuck out? The cloister rules are so lame. Bronya is so lame. I can't believe L-word used to hang out with her. But I guess if she hadn't befriended Bronya, then I never would have met her. It's hard to meet non-jadebloods in the caverns. All the time you're underground with nothing but lucci and grubs and the same stupid jades every day. It sucks down there. Daria's imitation grubhorn bracelets clunk as she folds her arms over her chest. Her heavy makeup makes it look like her eyes are twin black holes, where all sense of fun and caring about things might go to die. She's giving you a marked contrast from how Bronya talked about the caverns, with the peace and quiet and safety they offered compared to Alternia's surface. And other than that time Lanera nearly killed you in a cave and the time you nearly trampled by a rampaging Lucis, you remember liking the caverns. You would think that. Don't know why I thought you might be cool. You might be friends with L-word, but you're also friends with Bronya and Lanera. And they're the two most boring trolls on this planet. You can't help but feel slightly defensive of your friends. Sure, Lanera is Lanera, but you wouldn't call her boring. And Bronya is very fond of rules, it's true, but she can hang. Ugh, whatever. This conversation is dumb. I don't care if you can't get me into the party. Nothing matters anyway. Just make your stupid choice and get on with it. Suggest she go home or party hard. I noticed that a lot of these have, like, capital text. Makes me wonder. But she seems very aware of the fourth wall as well. Alright, then. Suggest she go home or party hard. I'm going suggestions. Thinking about the Jadeblood caverns has got you really missing them. The quiet monotony, the cute little grubs, the dank air and darkness. You can't think of a better place to lie down and have a depression nap. Perhaps even a depression coma. So you straighten up your slouch and tell Daria that regardless of her opinion on Branya and how cool or lame she is, those cloister rules probably exist for a reason, right? Maybe the two of you can go back to the caverns together. Ugh. Fine, be a goody to strut pod and casements. I'm going to go somewhere that is not so lame. Lame. Da 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 da. Nope, that wasn't the friendships. Okay. Party hard. What the hell? It's not your job to keep anyone in line, and it's not like you have a great understanding of why even the older Jadebloods need to stay underground anyway. If Daria wants to sneak into parties and get into trouble, who are you to say no? Daria expresses no pleasure in your decision to get her into the party. She just shrugs and rolls her eyes. You shrug and roll your eyes back. You can play the role of a disaffected teen with the best of them. You take her around at the front door. Hey, you're looking forward to seeing Elward again. When you met her, you didn't have nearly as many friends as you do now, and in retrospect, you know you came off as kind of a sycophantic. Wouldn't it be great if you could introduce Elward to a new, popular, knowledgeable you? As you're walking up the steps, a huge shadow dwarfs yours. You look up to see Chahud, of all trolls, grinning above you. Okay, let's see if I can remember your name, the sound of your voice. Let's see. Well, hey, little one. I remember you. And who's this new little one you've got with you? Chahut switches her interest to Daria, grinning down at her. Daria isn't huge for a Jadeblood or anything, but she is absurdly tiny, with Chahut looming down at her like that I can read. Her face remains impassive and bored, but she scuffs one of her big black boots on the ground and twists one of her spiky bracelets around on her wrist. Cute. Don't see many little jades outside the caverns. I always found greenies fascinating, so devoted to the continuation of the species. What a holy mission. Chahut moves slowly and lazily. That looks creepy. Okay. Like she has all the time in the world and no conceivable reason to rush, and reaches out to pat Daria's shoulder. She lets her hand linger, one claw resting against Daria's neck. Ain't it a dangerous position to be so far away from your green brothers and sisters? So they actually have male Jadebloods? Well, I know that they're that female Jadebloods take up the majority of the class, and we haven't seen any biologically male green Jadebloods. So I don't know, man. I don't know things. I only know what the wiki tells me. Anyway. Unless you're hiding something in those pretty veins. A slimy chill runs down your spine. Daria seems frozen on the spot, staring straight ahead at Chahut's bosom in front of her. You think Chahut is joking, but it can be hard to tell. With clowns, their humor is just so much more highbrow than anyone else's. Just joking. This looks like a good party, even if Elward is too blasphemous for my taste sometimes. See the both of you little ones inside. Bye. Then she ambles away, bending down to duck inside the door to the party. You hear party sounds, music and laughter and clinking drinks, and what could be the sound of someone being murdered, which qualifies as a party noise on this planet. I also didn't catch, but really should have. Apparently trolls do throw up. Look at him in that. Look at him. Okay, he is in the gutter. Anyway. Then the door swings shut again, and you and Daria look at each other. Daria's heavy makeup can make it hard to read her expression, but you can still tell she's rattled. You know what? It looks like this party's filled with lame conformers. All these high bloods that buy into the system and do what they're told, even Elward? Can we find something better we can find something better to do somewhere else. Yeah, to hell with this party. You're down to find your own fun, especially if that means not putting Daria in a way of potentially a murder-happy clowns. As you saunter away from the party, you realize that Daria is looking at you expectantly. Well, you got this reputation for being all unconventional and weird and rebellious. Everyone seems to think that you're totally messing with the conventions of society or whatever. So you got any suggestions for cool stuff to do? Oh, you've sure felt a lot of pressure to be quirky since the word has spread of your manic pixie dream alien ways. It's not like you're trying to be a vehicle for other characters' project onto, assisting with character growth and insight for those around you while your impulse decisions and carefree ways somehow keep yourself stagnant and forever unchanged. It just seems to sometimes be like that. I just read all that in one breath. I feel very tired. Oh gosh. Taking a sip of water. Out of breath my butt. Okay. Anyway, you're tired, and it's daunting to have a punk teen expecting you to come up with suggestions for cool stuff. You have a feeling she's gonna shoot you down whatever you suggest. You rack your brain trying to think of anywhere that from your many adventures that Daria might like. Your think pen comes up with zilch and squat, and she's starting to look bored with you. Confessing that you can't think of anything is probably an option if you want Daria to be your friend, as exhausted and disillusioned as you feel with your socialite routine. You like her, and you want to bond. I don't know, what do you want to do? Wander the streets like hoodlums? I'm thinking, I don't know, what do you want to do? You tell Daria that you have no ideas for cool things to do because everything on this planet is lame, but she's from here. Doesn't she know any non-lame places to go? Ugh, I told you, I'm stuck underground all the time. It's not my fault I'm literally sheltered and never get to do anything fun. That explains why you're acting out with the dark eyeshadow and the spikes. Oops, maybe this was the wrong approach. She seems angry at you, but then Daria sighs loudly and uncrosses her arms from her chest. I do know one place that's pretty alright, I guess. Better than here, anyway. Far enough. No, it's far, though. Not a problem. You got wheels. You were walking around the neighborhood just because, well, you felt lifeless and glum and your car needs alien fuel, which you've been reluctant to ask someone how to get because you don't want to be told it runs on grub grease or something like that. But now you have a purpose again, and you're more than willing to provide transportation and service for your new friendship goal. You ask Daria if you take Daria to your car, parked a few blocks away. She directs you where to go. Wow. We got a cracked windshield. Oh my gosh, but look at the little bobblehead. It's a pusher, just like our little baby boy. We got a lot of blood splatter on the windshield. What the hell? Even some gray one. Even gray, which is weird. What's it supposed to be? Anyway. You drive through neighborhood after neighborhood, through the yellow blood slums where you met Follicle and Cuprum, the busy urban sector where you had adventures with Tagora, and the austere indigo enclave where Gallic lives. Eventually the buildings get sparse, and you think about how you were yearning to drive into the barren landscape and not die maybe, but stop and just let it all end. You don't think Daria would take you all the way out here just for you to both meet sweet oblivion, but who knows? Trolls can be kind of hard to predict. Just when you think you've reached a point where there can be no any more city or suburbs left, a rubble of massive old buildings comes into view. Looks almost like a miniature version of the main Alternian city that you're used to, except it's all abandoned and mostly ruined. Nothing around here looks inhabitable. Rumor has it that some trolls who lived here got the Condis angry, so she culled the whole town. That would have been way back in the day. It's ancient history now. If there were any survivors, I guess they're either dead or up in space. Anyway, all these old buildings are kind of sick. There's never anyone else here, and I'm into that. You drive until she tells you to stop in front of a huge crumbling building, and even though this thing is half gone, you can still tell it's a mall. We're at the mall. Dang it, I missed the opportunity to be like, get in, loser, we're going shopping. Anyway. It seems a bit different from the mall you visited with Polypa. Even aside from the fact that it's totally dark and there's no one inside it, it seems more old-fashioned, a lot more like one of your familiar Earth malls. I'm getting, oh gosh, Night in the Woods vibes. You be B, and I will be the best girl. So yeah. Every dystopian movie you ever wanted has taught you to be extremely wary of abandoned malls, and you feel pretty nervous as Daria walks you up the rickety, frozen escalator. It's so dark, you can barely see your hand in front of your face. You're trying not to show your fear, because you don't want to look like a wuss in front of Daria. But you can't hold back a whimper when your foot lands on a step that makes a distinctive, about-to-collapse noise. Don't be scared. It's okay, I've climbed all over this place 1,000 times, and everything that isn't already disintegrated is sturdy enough. And there's no risk of calling out here because, well, everyone's already been called. She's gentler towards you than would have been expected, given her cynical and spiky demeanor. You swallow your fear as you reach the top of the escalator and tell her that it's chill, you just have some horror movie associations. Daria turns and pats you stiffly on the arm. You would never tell her this, but her reassuring manner once she's noticed someone in distress kinda reminds you of Branya. It's worth it when you get to the cool part. Come on. Oh, is that supposed to be like a motion blur right there? I see. Anyway. Stuff continues to be dark for a while, though you see some light up ahead. As you get closer, the hall opens into a food court, and you see that the light is moonlight shining through the mostly absent roof. I can read. And Daria was right. There's something extremely surreal and cool about a decrepit, empty food court with the roof caved in. Rubble sits atop cafeteria tables, and plastic food trays are scattered to the floor. And okay, that might be the remains of a troll skeleton, still wearing a mostly disintegrated fast food uniform, which is less cool, and makes you remember that this place is abandoned, because the Conda sent drones here to murder everyone. I'm still, okay, audio's being captured and stuff, just making sure. Sorry. You want to know the weirdest thing about this mall? It seems like actual adults used to maybe work here. What? Is this before, like, the Sufferer? That just makes it weird thinking that the Sufferer could have gone to the mall with his mom and gotten new clothes for school. I've gone through a lot of stores, and some of them are for adult-sized things. And there's a store for, like, stuff that drones bring you now. There's army supplies for going off-world, too. If this mall was for adults, it must be really ancient. Geez, has it really been that long since there were any adults on this planet? Even after your time on Alternia, that still kind of freaks you out. What must that be like, to grow up entirely without adults? To live on a planet where that's nothing but kids? Daria gives you a weird look. What would it be like to have adults down here too? That sounds way more dangerous and stupid. It's not like we're all wigglers. Trolls have to grow out of that mindset pretty fast. People have responsibilities or whatever the heck, or at least they pretend to. And there's training and stuff for Jades. We're basically trapped. Maybe you think that a planet of kids would mean you can do whatever you want, but I've never had freedom. And I'll have even less as an adult. Cloistered Jades aren't even allowed to join the Imperial Army. Instead, we get shipped off to live in isolation. That doesn't make any sense. That goes against what L-Word said. She said that she and Branya were getting, like, similar assignments. Unless she meant that L-Word was gonna be in isolation on another planet. Okay. We're forbidden to contribute genetic material to the slurry. What? And no palings allowed once we mature? For some reason, I don't know, bull crap, old-fashioned reason that I pretty much don't understand at all. Wait. Then how do we get jade bloods if no one adds jade blood material? What? Okay. But that brings up the whole, like, paling. Yeah. Seems like only teenagers screw on this planet. Adults aren't allowed to do that. On Alternia, your whole future's decided the second you're hatched. People tell me all the time that I have it lucky as a jade blood, but I don't feel lucky at all. Oof, yeah, you agree with Daria that the future she's described sounds bleak as hell. Right? It's gonna freaking suck. And it's so crappy that I have it good. I mean, at least I don't have certain early death in my future, unlike a lot of low bloods. The system is so screwed up and it's never gonna change, and I hate it here. I just want a way out of it. Maybe when you go back to your home planet, you could take me with you? Aw, Daria! The request comes out of left field, and for a few seconds you just blink at her stupidly. Even with all the angry black makeup around her eyes, she just looks so sad. Sad and lost. You wish you had a different answer to give her, but you tell her that you can't take her back to your planet because you don't know how, when, or if you're ever going home. You've been trying not to contemplate the future, because on the rare occasions that you do let yourself think about it, existential dread tends to take over. Dread. Yeah, that's the word for it. The older I get, the more I realize how terrible things are. The older I get, will I get over it? It's been way too long for the time we missed. I can't believe it still hurts like this, but I think... Sorry, no more skillet. Okay, I'm done. No more skillet. Okay. Even though that CD came out when I was in high school and we thought that was the edgiest thing for a Christian kid to get their hands on was a Skillet CD. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No one thought it was that edgy. But they did think it was cool around our youth group circles. Anyway, I try not to think about it, just like you. But it still hits home sometimes. When it does, I don't feel like angry or rebellious. Instead, I feel completely paralyzed. This, too, is a familiar emotion to you. You feel for Daria, who has wandered over to the middle of the food court and is staring up through the cave-in at the moons. She has her arms wrapped around her middle, and the spiky jewelry and jagged haircut and big black boots don't do anything to make her look less small. You wish you knew what to say to make her feel better. You've done a decent job at cheering up dejected trolls in the past, but it's hard when you're feeling so crappy about your own situation. You mutter something about how things could still get better. You never know what the future holds, yada yada yada, and she looks at you like you know how hollow your words are. Ugh, you sound like Branya. Next you're gonna tell me how important jadebloods are and what an honor all this responsibility is. Give me a break. Optimism is for chumps and losers. Keeping grubs safe doesn't matter. The continuation of our species doesn't matter. Nothing any of us do matters. You feel your blood getting hot to match the steel that's now in her voice. A sick part of you finds this train of thought a lot more viscerally satisfying than trying to cheer her up, which wasn't working anyway. You stamp your feet, and so does she. I can't believe anyone bothers trying to carve out a real life on this worthless crap hole of a planet. Sorry, I'm distracted a little bit. I'm looking at her sign and I'm like, okay, so we got like ancient Egyptian sort of fan read sort of thing going for it. I'm trying to think of what her like alignment is just from looking at it. And I'm thinking jade. Okay, so it's jadeblood, obviously, but I'm thinking prospect blood? Am I close? Probably not, because that's just a 1 in a million chance. Anyway, there's no point. We might as well be all cold. In the back of your mind, you know you should be disagreeing with some of this, but you're too worked up to care. Maybe Daria's right. Maybe nothing matters. That's right. Maybe I should just quit. You fall to your righteous fury. Maybe quitting is going a bit far. Maybe the high bloods that go around causing death and destruction just because they have the right idea. This is starting not to sound so great. What doesn't sound great about it? Well, now it sounds like you should be in the cover for, last night. Anyway. Who cares if I decide I don't want to be a caretaker? Instead, I burn stuff down for fun. There's no point of anything, so what does it matter? Who cares? Jeez, girl, calm the heck down. Everything matters, at least somewhat. Daria's hands are balled into fists and her teeth are bared as she glares at you. You open your mouth, maybe to tell her that you care, even though that would probably sound trite, but no words come out. She scoffs and turns away from you and jumps on a crumbly-looking cafeteria table. You know what? Screw this. Friendship is as pointless as everything else. She picks up one of the chairs, and you really need to stop being surprised at all the strength, even the scrawniest-looking trolls, and hurls it to the nearest fast food stall. You thought it was just a random throw at first, but it appears that she's aiming with precision because it crashes into a tank of fuel connected to the oven. Whoa! You just set the place on fire. You're not sure how Alternian cooking technology works, but the stall explodes in a huge green-tinged fireball that knocks you off your butt. Whoa. That angle and the lighting makes you look like you're in The Conjuring. Not The Conjuring. The Coven. The Coven, or the... Man, what is that 90s movie with the witches? Okay. You're watching horror from your butt-level vantage point as the flames lick into the restaurants on either side, explosions happening around the food court like dominoes. Daria stands on her table in the middle of it, unmoving even as fire threatens to envelop her. This is probably the only place I actually like on this whole planet. So good riddance. If it's gone, one less thing to care about. With all the dust and debris, this mall is coming down fast around you. You desperately want to get Daria out of there, but you desperately want to save yourself more, and Daria doesn't look like she wants to be saved. You make a feeble attempt going over to her and trying to grab her around the waist to get her out of here, but she kicks you hard in the chest. Her steel-toed combat boots send you flying, and it's once again 0 days since you last broke your ribs. As used to the pain as you are, it still takes you a second of lying on the floor in agony before you can push yourself up to look at the food court. A wall of fire now separates you from the tables inside. You can't even see Daria anymore. Your heart sinks. Maybe she'll come to her senses and pull herself out of danger and escape through the cave-in roof. Maybe she'll get out some other way. You stumble to your feet, half thinking that maybe you can find water or a fire extinguisher in some part of this mall that isn't burning up, but smoke chokes your lungs and you panic. Your human survival instincts take over. You dash down the escalator as mall infrastructure starts to crumble around you, and you don't want to abandon Daria. But it's all you can do to get your own sorry butt out of here alive. Game over! Okay. Let's not be an apathetic teen, then. Wander down the streets like hoodlums. Here's the thing. Your weirdest and best adventures have happened to you when you've decided to be spontaneous and just let stuff happen. Adventures and coolness are both hard things to plan. So what are you suggesting? That we just wander? Her derisive tone makes you hesitate, but, well, yes, that's exactly what you're suggesting. Daria gives a long, considering look. You hold your breath, then she shrugs. Okay, whatever, sure. Not like I have anything better to do. Let's just go. Rough part of town. Well, these backgrounds. You meander through the well-maintained cerulean streets, heading downtown. This seems like a good opportunity to get to know your new potential friend, so you start asking her some fairly simple questions. How am I? Gee, I don't know. I'm forbidden to leave the stupid caverns, and as a jadeblood, all I have to look forward to is a life of being forbidden to do things. That's how do you think I am? Okay. You try to walk that one back a little. It sounds like Daria is unsatisfied with the jadeblood setup. That's one way to put it. You could also say that I'm unsatisfied with, like, the whole setup of my species. You've been here for a while now. Don't tell me you haven't noticed that every part of our society is transparent bullcrap. You glance around because Daria's right. You've been around for a while and that means you know enough to know that if the wrong people overheard this kind of talk, you'd both get cold on the spot. But everyone here seems distracted by their own nonsense. Cautiously, you can see that, yeah, you notice certain bullcrap aroma. Yeah, it all stinks. No one has any kind of real future except for the highest of the high bloods. And actually, I've heard I heard things pretty much suck for them too. Some might say that purple bloods are the most disprivileged class of them all. I love my beautiful, marvelous pop star son. Well, he's not a pop star, he's a rapper. You were just going to continue to not comment on that one. Instead, you point out that being a jadeblood, Daria has a purpose beyond just growing up to become fodder for the Imperial Army. Like you've heard all other trolls mention. Surely that counts as a real future. Ugh. Don't get me started. Suffice to say, I'm not exactly hype about the purpose that I supposedly have. More like the purpose that was arbitrarily assigned to me. But it's not like I have a choice, and rebelling in any sort of real way would put me in danger of a culling. Life here is pretty much just hopeless. Dang, you wish you had a good counter-argument, but you want to give her some words of comfort. But what can you even say? Daria's right. Stuff's grim. At least you're honest. Thanks for not bullcrapping me. You know, Lanera said you were good to talk to about real stuff. I guess she was right. You're surprised that Lanera is going around talking about you, saying positive things even. But you're more surprised that Daria is bringing her up in a non-derisive context. You didn't know that Daria and Lanera were close. Ugh, no, gross. I hate Lanera. And not in a romantic way. Thank you. Or, well... Anyway, never mind. Daria looks embarrassed and flustered and also angry at you. At least you've gotten the subject away from how hopeless everything is. But still, you don't want this friendship to sour. As you're scanning your useless brain for a tactful subject change, you're saved by the footsteps of a new troll approaching. Oh, hi, Tizius. Match made in heaven right here. Let's talk about how terrible things are again. Yes. As luck would have it, you know this troll. It's Tizius, which makes sense because your meandering has taken you and Daria close to Tizius' favorite book hive. Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Never mind. I don't even need to ask. You're obviously making friends with this jadeblood. Searching for some dumb stuff, no doubt. Stuff to do, no doubt. Don't let me keep you. Tizius looks just as exhausted as you remember. You don't want her to go just yet, because it's been a while since you've seen her, and you're always eager for an opportunity to catch up with a friend, especially one of the less murderous ones. Then you notice Daria's eyeing Tizius' mug of undefinable liquid, and the idea occurs to you. You get excited, bouncing a little on the balls of your feet as you introduce Tizius to Daria, and Daria to each other. You explain to Tizius with a meaningful look that you hope she'll interpret correctly, that you and Daria were just conversing about the more unjust aspects of Alternian society and how hopeless everything seems to be. What do you mean? The more unjust aspects? Does Alternia society have any aspects that are not unjust? I'm sweeps into studying our legal system, and I haven't found any. Daria makes a muffled sound that could be a laugh. You make your meaningful look more meaningful. Does Tizius remember that conversation she had with you about justice and the terrible system, and the importance of possibly futile work to try and improve things someday? Peeing? Tizius squints at you, then takes a long slurp from her mug. Right. Yeah, I remember. You wave your hands around. Now we're talking! Tizius is one of the few friends you've made that seems to not only notice that stuff is messed up, but wants to dedicate herself to unscrewing this stuff as much as she could. Of course, many of your dear friends try to make the world a little better for various clumsy, interpersonal, distinctly Alternian ways. You think of Chixie striving for her music, even when it puts her against the High Bloods, the baffling but sweet ways that Connell and Adaja and Gallic and Tagora care about each other, and Fozzer's commitment to political... Wait, why did you think of that guy? He's totally a shill for the Condis. Screaming. Okay. Anyway, Tizius has a big picture mentality and a cause that she believes in, and the simple fact that she hasn't yet completely given up is inspiring. Daria is struggling with feelings of despair, so maybe Tizius could talk her about the work she's been doing. What? No, I'm not struggling. It's whatever. I don't even care. Daria kicks the ground sulkily. Tizius looks her over, her eyes lingering on the jade symbol on her shirt and her spiky black jewelry, then sighs. Sure, you don't care. I went through a phase of telling myself that too. I thought it would make it easier to deal. But nah. Tizius pauses for another mug slurp, and you think she might be enjoying the opportunity to monologue a little bit. Daria huffs. The only thing that helps, and I'm not even sure that helps is the right word for it, is finding something to work on in your own little corner. And try to make it less effed. But there's nothing I can do in my corner. It's pointless to pretend otherwise. And that goes for everyone. Like, the whole system is designed to help high blood stamp out dissent in every corner. And one troll can't do anything against something like that. Tizius' eyebrow twitches as she stares at Daria, clearly peeved at being interrupted. Uh-oh, this could be going better. Well, no, crap. What do you take me for? I'm not saying it all it takes is standing up and fighting for what's right or something stupid like that. It's obviously a surefire way to get culled. Well, then what are you saying? How can you even know, like, whatever piddly little action you're taking will change anything? I can't tell you the future, idiot. No one can give you a guarantee that any kind of action will be ultimately effective. You have to decide for yourself what's worth to try anyway. Why would you think it's worth it when everything around us confirms that nothing will ever change? I can't believe you're calling me an idiot when that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Tizius looks like she's about ready to throw the contents of her mug in Daria's face. Knowing trolls, she'd probably follow up with the mug itself. This is not the conversation you'd hope for at all. You step in before things get any more heated. You tell Tizius that you're sorry and that you didn't flag her down so that her ideas could get crapped on. You turn to Daria, who is staring at both of you with a defiant look on her face and a stubborn set in her jaw. This kid. She's just so dead set on rebelling against anyone who tries to tell her anything, even with the faintest whiff of authority. You really thought that maybe all the attitude could be channeled into something productive that could help her feel better and possibly even give her a sense of purpose. You're not mad, just disappointed. Ooh. Ugh. Don't give me that look, okay? I was just stating my opinion, but I guess I could be less of a bone budge about it. You're pleasantly surprised to see that Daria more or less apologized. Tizius looks mollified, too. This just makes me so angry. Angry and sad and helpless. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself when I really have to think about it. Bingo, unfortunately. I feel the same way. I don't think there's any getting around the helplessness. But what I was trying to say was that working on something that might help fix things someday makes that feeling a little less powerful. So you're saying that it's about making yourself feel better? Well, when you put it like that, it sounds bad. I believe I'm working on things that might affect change someday, even if I'm not around to see it. But also, yeah, most of the time it helps me sleep at night too. You can tell Daria is a bit disappointed by this. Like, she doesn't trust that political rebellion can go hand in hand with making the rebels feel good about themselves. You point out that whether or not Tizius feels good about her work doesn't make the work itself any less effective. Yeah, the end of the universe doesn't care about how I feel. I'm just one troll trying to do the right thing. Or at least the okay thing. For its own sake, even if it might ultimately be futile. Now, what the hell are we gonna do with this son of a gun of an Alternia? You've got me there. I'm bored all the time, and there really isn't anything cool to do down in the caverns. I guess during the downtime, my training, I could, I don't know, help you out, maybe. Not that I have anything to offer other than the book hive and the jadeblood cloisters. Access to that might really help with my research, actually. Give me your number and we can talk. Is it a smidgen in your imagination, or does Tizius look a smidgen less tired? The bags under her eyes less baggy, and her back a little straighter, and you think the corners of Daria's lips might be slightly quirked up. Daria turns turns her possibly a smile from Tisius to you. This is cool, I guess. Oh, she lost the edge and, like, the end of her tone. Nice. Or at least, not too bad. But I don't know if it counts as something cool. So I guess we could keep hanging out until more stuff happens. You know Daria well enough by now to recognize this from the ringing endorsement that it is. You're about to happily agree when Tisius pipes up. I'm just headed home from studying, but I'm not tired yet. If you wanted a third wheel to drag along. Three-way friendship bomb victory! Yay. Okay, we got one more route to go. Holy crap, these routes are getting longer. Okay. We got an indigo. Befriend. Yeah, I think it's Nike. 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 Can I just hold this? Okay, good. That helps a lot. Friendship! Let's go with the, like, very, very strong, obvious wrestler here who would probably break my bones as soon as she slaps me on the back. Nike Moolah. Goddess of Victory, and obviously a cow. Anyway. Whoa. Look at all the weird horse muscle beasts with nipples. What the heck is this cage match? What is even this cage match? Wow, look at everything. Looks like someone from Equius's class is over in the far, like, bottom right-hand side of the screen. Anyway. Oh man, there's a kid with a sweet bro hella Jeff mouth. Oh my gosh. Okay. Dim lights, the din of roaring crowd, and the smell of horribly overpriced, nauseating concessions. Even across galaxies, timelines, and perhaps even universes, there's still something deeply familiar about a sporting arena. Smash her mother smash her mother honking face in! There's also something deeply familiar about sports fans. Oh gosh, Amnesia. Hi, girl! Blah, such a shame having seats next to the purples. They can be so crude and boorish, don't you agree? Childhood wouldn't be nearly this loud. Usually. You find yourself here attending a wrestling show, or a display of muscular theater, to use the troll terminology, thanks to the benevolence of one Amnesia Erdan. She won the tickets in a raffle and excitedly invited you to come along. You agreed with some reservations that you quickly expressed. She was quite disappointed, but eventually agreed not to kidnap you and keep you locked up as part of the living paint jar, since you're buddies and all. What a sweet friend. You have to admit, though, muscular theater isn't really your thing. It's as over-the-top and ridiculous as human wrestling, which makes perfectly entertaining enough, but also, well, a lot more violent. Participants aren't expected to die, as far as you can tell, but you've already seen a few get wheeled off of futuristic hover stretchers. With injuries, you're not sure they could survive. Oh my gosh, she nearly got impaled there! Every match tonight is taking place within this chain-link cage. Spikes surrounded on both outside and inside, and jut out occasionally from the places where the wires cross. The overall design, in addition to ensuring maximum bloodshed, seems to keep both the wrestlers inside and the audiences out. Ironically, it might be safer this way. The current combatants are some olive blood named the Huntress, and a purple blood calling himself Colpitts. Interesting enough to you, there is nothing clown-like about them at all. He is the most conspicuous how unclowny he is, if only due to the absolutely ridiculous amount of clown content you've imbibed on the presence of other purples. The two fighters appear to be nearly evenly matched. The olive troll ducks and weaves amid blindingly fast punches, and from the purple, slashing at him with grandiose arm gestures, trying to overwhelm him with a barrage of small attacks. Every one of his punches hits hard enough to knock her down, but she always springs up before he can land a second hit. She's incredibly steady on her feet and quicker than he. In fact, you get the distinct impression that the olive troll is holding back, presumably so as to avoid inciting the crowd. Thus far, you've not seen a single match in which the lower-blooded opponent triumphs over the higher-blooded foe. I must admit, this match is a lot more intense than I was expecting. But I hope it ends soon. There's supposed to be a really famous muscular performing next. Her name is Nike Moolah, and she hasn't ever lost a fight. I heard she even beat a violet blood once. Nike Moolah? Now that's a name you can befriend. She must be a big deal as Amnesia makes her out to be, because she uses her real name instead of some ridiculous made-up nonsense, like John Cena or Hulk Hogan. Oh, look, he got her! You flinch. The purple blood finally manages to get his quarry in his clutches. He lifts her up by the face, dragging his fingers into her skull until you hear a sickening crunch, and she collapses to the ground, panting heavily. She can't bring herself back to her feet as the announcer calls the match to uproarious applause from the audience. Two trolls enter the cage and start dragging her out while the winner basks the audience affections. The olive blood looks like she'll probably live, but she's got a dent in her face that probably isn't coming out. Ever. All of a sudden you think you really need to, get a bathroom. You mean use the snack. You mean he'll be right back. Oh, okay. Come back soon. This fight's giving me all sorts of ideas for new paintings. You quickly make a break for it, jostling your way through the stands and towards the exit of the arena. But before you make it, a voice calls out to you. Some slick-haired, slick-finned, violet-blooded guy wearing a full suit of tacky flame pattern on it. Hey you, alien. Me, you ask, pointing to yourself nervously. No, the other alien. You swing your head around wildly, looking for the other alien. This bit plays out predictably for a while before you both get onto the same page, which is that you are the alien whose attention he wants. You looking to make a little extra buck? No, not really. You never spent all the money you won with Adaja. Okay, how about some fame? Frankly, you are probably already too famous for your own good. Friendship? Oh, hell yeah. Sighing with relief, the troll leads you backstage whilst explaining that he is a promoter for this wrestling ring. One of the trolls that was supposed to perform tonight was eaten by some plant called the troll-devouring catch-eye grabber. As such, famed muscular theatrist Nike Moolah has been left with nobody to fight. You'll be that somebody. An alien will bring all sorts of media attention and controversy, which of course means big bucks for him, and friendship for you. Nike is so friendly, he says, in a tone so insincere that even your friendship-addled brain refuses to believe it. It's okay. You've met worse. Whoa, she's kind of hovering there. Okay. Interesting. Oh gosh, I didn't want to see troll nipples that blue ever in my life. Goodness gracious. What is even this locker room? Okay, he takes you to the back room, which seems to be full of performers waiting for their turn on stage. There are all sorts of trolls here, muscular and sweat-soaked, blue blood more often than not. One troll in particular stands out to you, from her severe expression to her softly pulsating robotic leg to the fact that she's the only troll with a fully illustrated spry. Sip. Okay. She's currently doing bicep curls with a set of spiked weights, huffing with exertion. When the promoter approaches, she looks up with a scowl. Okay, so let's see. It's kind of rough, but I don't want to go too rough, because the Connell voice would still probably kill me. So, let me think. I'm busy. He begins to explain that he brought a new challenger for her to face, but she cuts him off and stands up. She isn't as tall as you expected, but dang if she isn't dense, packing more brawn than any other troll you've met. Do you know what happens, sister, to people who disturb my preparations? Do you want to experience the bone-crushing, torso-shattering impact of these ladies right here. She flexes. Man, those muscles are huge. The promoter tells her that she really doesn't need to keep up the act. There's no cameras back here. She gives him a stern look, which distinctly suggests that she's never dropped has never dropped kebab in her life and has no intention of starting now. Make it quick. The promoter makes it quick. So let me get this straight. You expect me, to perform with this thing. She seems less than impressed, which you find reasonable. Magnificent legs aside, you don't really look like the wrestling type. Don't you dare insult me, sister. I'd rather you pull a Rusty from the audience than subject me to this humiliation. Oh, but you're more than just an audience member. Frail though you may be, you have the heart and the soul of a wrestler. You have long, much longer than about 5 minutes, you thoroughly assure her, waited for an opening such as this, to reveal your true passion to the world, to come alive on stage and grapple and tumble with the best of them. For eons you have thirsted for the chance to sing the song of sinew, the hymn of heft, the melody of muscle. Would that you would be blessed by the opportunity to live the life of the athlete, to perform alongside your hero, to show the world that you too love the do the muscly thing. Ah, that you might just... Okay, I get it. She glances over to the promoter, then back to you. It does seem surprisingly articulate for a lesser being. But is it ready for a butt clenching? Who says I'm not already clenching my butt? Flesh abrading, knuckle blistering, muscle ripping, smackdown from uptown. Yes, I'm thinking. Let me just get this right over here. Yes. You nod your head confidently. Blister my knuckles and abrade my flesh, you say. Let's get this smackdown started. You got guts, at least. She turns to the promoter and gives him a curt nod. I like the smile on her face. It's great. The match is on. Then she turns back to you. Now, sister, we need to discuss the show. I'll make all the decisions. You will respond adequately to the storyline I present. It will be thus. The alien invader challenged me to an exhibition match to topple the mighty Archie. They fight valiantly and show an entertaining display of strength, but in the end, as is right and proper, the nobler hue of the hemo spectrum prevails again. Nice. Let me be the heel. This is great. Rarg! She starts flexing and showing off for an imaginary audience before turning back to you. Any questions, sister? Yes, actually, you do have a couple questions. First, will you die? No. Unless you're particularly disgustingly weak, in which case, maybe! Such is the risk we take, we who indulge the most noble and dignified of sports. I was willing to give up my leg for the craft. Is your life such a heavy price to pay for the tale that will transcend us and be remembered in the annals of muscular history? Is it, sister? Well, it was rhetorical. Right. Secondly, when she says exhibition match, it is a muscular theater term, referring to a match stage for entertainment that does not affect one's ranking in the Flexa-ladder. We will not be sparring in the nude. Such glorious displays of raw, chiseled physique are reserved for intergalactic Trollympics. Oh yeah, you got that. Mostly you were wondering what it meant for the loser's head being, if it meant the loser's head being exhibited on a pike or some bloodthirsty nonsense. Do not denigrate the noble sport with claims of savagery. Thirdly, you're getting the sense that she's going to be playing you're playing the heel. See, I got it. I knew terms. Right? The what? You explain in your own cultural equivalent of muscular theater, performers generally fall into face or heel, wherein the face is the rule-abiding and sympathetic figure the audience is meant to root for, whereas the heel takes on a more aggressive and unlikable personality. What part of my personality is unlikable? Do you dare suggest, sister, that the audience won't be roaring in thunderous applause and admiration as I conquer yet another pitiful foe. You tell her, you know what? She can be both the face and the heel. You'll just be subjugulated under my heel. Yes, exactly. Hey, Moolah, chatting time's over. You're up. She jerks her head back to you and silently marches out of the room. You begin to follow, and the promoter directs you to your entrance on the other side of the arena. You wait nervously for your cue to enter. Well, folks, we've had some technical difficulties, but here comes the match you've all been waiting for. Wearing the belt of champions and leg of her own design, she's ready to gut the competition. A paragon of power, a lady of legwork, a true blue rough annihilator in the making. Clap those hands and activate your screech crevices. It's Nike Moolah! Nike approaches the cage in thunderous applause, raising her arms and soaking in all the praise. Jeez. With the sweat, what the heck? She flexes and poses as the audience throws it's milk. Throws milk at her, which shatter uselessly around her steely frame. This appears to be a common ritual for her. She steps through one of the cage doors and it slams shut behind her, locking tight. With her arms crossed and her teeth firmly gritted, she awaits you. As the announcer begins a new intro speech, you step forward. And the other corner, frail in stature, weak in knees, wearing a perpetual look of befuddlement, we have some messed up low-blood alien! How has this absurd mockery of life not been called yet? Perhaps only so fate could lead them to their thrashing at the bloodthirsty hands of barbed foot of the Grand Nike. A decent portion of the crowd boos at you during your approach, which you find unsurprising. You have to dodge a hail of old boots and rotten fruit. Somebody throws an entire piano at you. Relatively unfazed, you enter the ring and hear the door close behind you. So, you come here, alien, to prove your kind superior to the unbreakable, unstoppable troll species? Yeah, you shout, your kind is so superior to trolls. And you, their emissary, does this creature look superior to you, my theater enthusiasts? She turns to the audience, throwing out a hand gesture to you. They boo. So this sorry specimen is the best its planet can offer. More boos. You counter that you might be more than prepared to tackle the mighty Archie. Yeah, that. So you claim to be prepared. But are you prepared to face these 24-inch slither noodles? Slither noodles. She flexes so hard the announcer's sleeves explode. So be it. I'll crush you in a single blow. You're expecting a referee to start the match, but then it occurs to you that there is no referee. Somewhere in the distance, a bullhorn sounds, which is apparently the sign to begin. I just noticed there's towels all over the place. Without taking her eyes off you, Nike grabs the cage wall behind her and hoists herself up effortlessly, scaling it in reverse until she reaches the top. The announcer is screaming something about this move being called the Spiky Nike. Once she finishes her ascension, Nike deftly leaps from the edge of the cage and spins down towards you. Her body twists and writhes in multiple blindingly fast flips before her robot legs come slashing at you. You spend quite some time admiring her dazzling form before it occurs to you that you should probably move. You duck and roll forwards, feeling the point of her leg just barely graze your scalp. The announcer shouts, "First blood!" as you feel a light trickle down the back of your neck. Some members of the crowd are booing, presumably because they notice the color of your blood. Because the neon lighting in the distance, they probably think it's just rust-colored and not mutant red, so at least you have that going for you. What you don't have going for you is time to think about your next move, because Nike pivots on her heel and charges at you. This time, she's going for a more theatric throw. Two powerful hands grab you and lift you over her shoulder, where you nearly gore yourself on one of her horns in your struggle to escape. You plant two hands on her back and push hard, and you are delighted to find that her grip loosens, and you go tumbling over her back, landing with a clumsy stagger on your feet. You're not sure if she'd let you get away with that. One, for the sake of the show, or if you just slipped out of her sweat-soaked palms, but you're going to charitably assume the former. She turns to face you, grunting and baring her fangs. She charges, rearing back a fist, and then sending it barreling towards your fragile human nose. You leap out of the way, only narrowly dodging it. All you've done is avoid me, coward. Where's your killer instinct? Do I scare you? Are you loath to face my true blue, muscle-bound beauty? You take this as cue to attack, but instead you run full tilt away from her. It isn't fear carrying you, you swear. Fool! There's no running or hiding from Nike Moolah. Stand and fight! She sprints towards you as you flee. The crowd is on tenterhooks. Nobody knows what you're doing, at least of all you. But you think you can pull off something cool out of this. You leap at the cage wall, barely dodging the spikes that line it, and use the slight amount of give in the chain link wires to springboard you off. With an exuberant grin, you go flying towards her, an arm held out for a classic clothesline maneuver. And when you collide with her own arm, and whop. Whoa, where the heck are we now? When you wake up, you're lying in what appears to be an exercise mat, and you feel a telltale throbbing sensation in your face that indicates a black eye. The rest of you, thankfully, doesn't feel particularly hurt. Nearby, you hear the gruff and puff of exertion. You glance over and spot Nike training on one of those leg press machines you always saw in gyms but never had the courage to attempt to use. She's wearing an exercise outfit, which, despite its vastly different purpose, looks almost exactly like the outfit she wore in the ring. It has all the functions of a fitness aficionado would want. It's loose, it's breathable, the artists don't have to draw a second set of sprites for it. But that's how it's that's the best thing of all. Anyway. As soon as she notices you're awake, she turns to speak to you. She doesn't even stop her workout. You're finally awake, sister. Welcome to my hive. I have spent so much time, so much precious, valuable time, waiting for you to open your eyes. Oh gosh, how long have you been out? For about 40 minutes. Ooh, that's not too bad, is it? Perhaps. Only when compared to your abysmal performance in the ring. To be knocked out cold by your own attack? Wretched. I'm an impossible foe to conquer, and even a Rusty has towed me longer than the realm of mortal combat. You are weak, sister. Offensively so. She slams her foot forward with such velocity. The weight of the leg press goes flying off and leaves a dent in the floor. Grunting, she stands, takes a long swig from a bottle, then approaches you with fire in her eyes. What do you have to say for yourself? You scuttle backwards, proffering only a sheepish smile. You're, sorry, you guess? I didn't bring you here for apologies. I brought you so you could see your heart ignite with the will to improve. You're not a worthless being. You have a flair for the theatrics, an appreciation of the sport, and a shining soul, filled with only the most intractable determination. Determination! You could be so much more than you are, sister. I could make you so much more. Cast your gaze around you and behold, the bronesium. You obediently cast your gaze around. This room is massive and littered with training equipment as far as the eye can see. Much of it resembles exercise machines, like the ones you had in gyms back on Earth, but there are plenty more that look far more alien and deadly. A treadmill which appears to throw the runner into a vat of acid if they fall off. A series of swinging axes that look at home in a dungeon. 3 different varieties of Iron Maiden, each more horrific than the last. I like the medicine ball personally, with the spikes. This is presumably Nike's personal workout studio, but you could easily mistake it for a torture chamber. You wonder if Ardata has ever considered a job as a personal trainer. Maybe you should bring it up with her. There are some who may be worthy of my expertise. It is here that I can forge them, just as I forge myself, into beings of adamantine strength. The journey will be harsh. If you are made of weaker stuff than I believe, you will perish in agony. But if your core is strong, your will of iron, yours will be an unquenchable might. She extends a hand to you, her jaw set. Join me, sister, and together we shall ascend to Tumescent Heights. of muscular perfection. There's a look in her eyes that you will have never seen before. One of hope, of faith. Her arm vibrates, muscles quaking. Do you take it? Take her hand or hesitate? I'm thinking on taking her hand. Let's do this. Take her hand. You take her hand, staring into those hopeful eyes. Oh, to see that deep sapphire blue filled with the glow of friendship. She squeezes your hand so tightly you feel your fingers fracturing. Excellent. I knew you had the spark. Now make a flame to grind and crush and pummel the flint until it bursts into a roaring blaze of strength. Today I shall begin by testing your limits. Come. She leads you to the treadmill and the deep bubbling pit of acid directly behind it. You nervously step on. You're going to measure your speed and stamina. Run until you can run no longer. She starts up the machine. She gives you a nice breezy jogging pace at first, but then the treads begin to whir their way to blindingly fast rate. You're sprinting as hard as you can to keep up, holding desperately to the arms of the treadmill. Come on, sister, grit your teeth. Put some thrust sinew into it. If you're not activating your acid tract by the time you're done, you aren't trying hard enough. Sweat beads on your forehead as you push your legs to the limit, running like you're being chased by an angry drone. Your feet must be blurring like Sonic the Hedgehog by now. The treads are moving even faster and you can almost feel yourself slipping. Got to hold. Ah! You lose your grip and go flying backwards, narrowly grasping the edge of the pit and dangling into it. Your toes singed by the acid. Youch! You hold yourself up over the edge and roll to one side, hissing. Nike stands over you, clicking her tongue. Top speed, 12 miles per hour. That's good, right? For a bronze blood. Next test. She takes you from the machine to machine in quick succession, each time commenting on your skill level. Your biceps are as terrible as Rusty's. Your legs are gold at best. Your lungs gold at best. Your legs are an unexpected cerulean, all the while taunting you, encouraging you to push yourself further. The desiccated corpse of my ancestor could do better than this. You struggle to deadlift a large barbell made of dead monster skulls. Are you going to eject dismay fluid all night long, or are you going to woman up? You go toe-to-toe with the punching bag that shoots sonic blasts at you whenever you hit it. Shape up or get ejected to the nearest solar execution barge. You sob as she forces you to do 30 minutes of freeform jazzercise. The most torturous of all. Your hands are terrible. Your jazz hands are terrible. How dare you? By the time the hour is up, you are panting and huffing and desperate for a break. Nike finally relents. Your reward is staying alive thus far. Stay hydrated, sister. Hell yeah. Actually, I'm out of water. No, I got some left. Cheers. Now it's empty. I have no water left. Anyway. She tosses you one of those protein shaker bottles that gym buffs are always chugging from. You regard the mixture with curiosity for a moment before throwing caution to the wind and gulping some down. What has imbibing alien substances ever hurt you before? But when the flavor hits your taste buds, you almost retch. Is this Gatorade mixed with milk? Oh, wow, that sounds gross. Then again, most protein drinks are freaking gross. Nutritious and delicious. You keep chucking it. You need liquids, foul though they may be. Alright, lactose break over. Let's continue. She next leads you over to one of those Iron Maidens. This one doesn't actually look spiked, just has a blunt, bumpy surface on the inside. Get in. What? Get in, sister! You reluctantly step inside the Iron Maiden and the doors clamp shut around you. The thing is far, far too tight for you, and the bumps are pressing into you from all sides, threatening to squeeze you away into nothing. You groan and push back against the walls, desperately trying to keep them from crushing you into a little human waffle. Just when you think your strength's about to give out, the Maiden opens. Pressure resistance. About olive level. The results are surprisingly adequate. Your potential continues to shine. Good work. This halfway point seems to mark a change in her attitude as you continue to, just barely, persevere through everything she throws at you. Like a shake weight, so powerful it leaves you shuddering intermittently through the next few exercises. Keep steady, sister. Don't lose heart on me now. A rowing machine that douses you with boiling water if you can't keep up the pace. Go, go, go. We'll make a fuchsia medalist of you yet. Literally being chased around a field outside by a giant toothy monster. Don't you dare allow the thing of satisfaction to feasting on your bones. After hours of this grueling work, you finally collapse. You think some of your bones are broken, your heart beats coming in quick and irregular pulses, and you can hardly breathe. Your vision blurs and shifts at the edges. Oh, you're amazed you haven't passed out yet. Get up. Oh, you glance weakly up at Nike, expecting her to be looking down at you with disdain, but instead you see her crouching down and offering you her hand, wearing a smile. You take her hand and she pulls you up to your feet. Oh, she looks so chipper. The look on her face now resembles pride. When she claps the palm down on your shoulder, it only kind of hurts. You've done well, sister. I threw everything I had at you, and you soldiered on with head held high, even as your body broke beneath the weight. I've never seen such commitment, such strength of heart and soul, such dedication to the craft, such appreciation for the most righteous of pursuits. You are no mere workout partner, you are a workout friend. A light blossoms inside you like the neighing of a horse, this feeling of power, of strength, of the bond between warriors. This is real and true, and this light will never ever leave you. As you bask here in the satisfied and sweaty glow of a good workout, you realize that planets, universes, dimensions, realities, powers, principalities, and cosmos come and go, but being swole as hell is forever. Good callback. Victory! Yeah, boy. Okay, now's a good time to end it because this episode definitely went on longer than I thought it would. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the penultimate episode of Friendsim. Bye!
Hey there. Consider becoming a patron, just like the phenomenal Bleed Red, Alexander Madeline, and Uranium Coffee. Who's Ranium? Yours.